right. Well, it's nice to be here with you today. And I'm feeling like I'd like to ask about angels.
Wonderful.
Specifically, starting with guardian angels and just to understand, is a guardian angel real?
So what comes up around guardian angels, it's kind of ironic that you would ask. The first thing, and I'll tell you in a second, the first thing that comes up, I'm asking, am I going to tell you? There is this feeling of love and protection that goes with the guardian angel um, as a kind of like an overriding. That's what guardian angels are: love and protection and acceptance. I'm getting a great big smile, like happy to be talking about this. And I'm rolling my eyes a little because they are reminding me. Funny you should mention it. I've actually started a children's book
Nice.
about your guardian angel, based on some of the things that have come up about children recently and how difficult their life can be sometimes. And if the child knows that they actually have a guardian angel, that can be a comfort to them.
Very nice.
So we need to introduce them to that subject matter. So actually, what about guardian angels?
So guardian angels are real.
They're real, yes. Actually, some people can, yes, some people can see them. Yes, some people can. A lot of people cannot, or at least don't generally see them. But that doesn't mean they're not real. They are as real as the air around us, which we could not live without. That's an interesting analogy. We can't see the air. We generally don't feel it, but yes, we do. We can do this, and we can feel the air around us moving. It's the same way with our guardian angel. We don't necessarily see them, but we can feel them if we look for that, if we pay attention to that.
For sure. Okay. And what are they called a guardian angel because they're literally there is a protection, and what kind of protection does that mean? What is that?
The term guardian angel apparently has been around for a long time. I'm also supposed to point out that we talk in terms of a guardian angel, but each individual likely has more than one angel kind of associated with them on their spiritual team. Often the guardian angel is one that has been with us through many, many lifetimes, kind of like dedicated to us as an individual, and that's usually the one that's referred to as a guardian angel. The guardian part certainly is applicable to that particular class of angels because that's their job kind of is to watch over their person and guard them to the extent that they can on the earth plane. It's apparently easier for them to do that when their person is connected to them, when there's a relationship, when they're already talking to each other, rather than the guardian angel trying to work independently around the edges, you might say.
Is the protection then mostly like an energetic protection, or can they actually like if I'm about ready to step over a cliff,
right?
Literally or figuratively?
Right. Oh, there are apparently several kind of like levels of protection. One is an emotional level where they're going to call that, they think we would call that energetic. As they're saying, it's all energetic. Each one of these apparently is energetic. So if we talk about the emotional one, that is one they offer often. It's like one of the most common of the protections that they can provide, and that is when somebody feels bad. It could be grief, it could be fear, it could be helplessness, it could be hopelessness. So that's a big one. Where an individual, if they recognize that they have that kind of feeling, they can ask their guardian angel to help bring them out of it. They're showing me, yes. I've had that experience where actually it was a little bit different. So are we talking about something else now? Well, we're supposed to remember that the comfort that guardian angels offer is one of their main and major attributes, you might say, that they can offer us. And with that comfort, they always show the image of wrapping. Not only do they kind of hold their person to their heart, but they wrap their beautiful big wings around them, and you feel protected. So protected. There's no judgment. There's love. There's peace. There's acceptance. It doesn't matter what you've just been doing. There's absolutely no judgment at all. It's like, I love you. I accept you, and holding to their heart, which can give you this wonderful sense of peace.
Very neat.
Yeah. That's one. Okay, we're supposed to go on. Two. In terms of what do they offer for protection, they can drop ideas into our. They do this a lot too. Drop ideas into our head that are suggestions that are for our benefit. Suggestions for our benefit. We don't have to, go along with the idea, but it may not feel like it's from your guardian angel. It's just going to be pop, an idea comes into your head. If it's something you don't recognize as yours, in other words, if it's a new idea kind of out of the blue, you're supposed to check to see how you feel when you get that idea. If you feel neutral or good, this is before you decided whether to go with the idea or not. When you first get the idea, if you can catch how does that feel, if it feels neutral or good, that's from your guardian angel. If it causes, I don't know how, it's a feeling, angst. You want to consider carefully where that idea may be coming from, because you certainly want to only consider the ideas from your team that's trying to help you, from your angels, basically. And then you have the opportunity to consider whether you want to go ahead with, in other words, your free will still controls. You don't have to do anything that they suggest. Might be a good idea. But sometimes it's so different than what we would be thinking that we may need that suggesting a few times before we can go, oh, well, maybe I'll try that if it's something new and different in particular. But apparently the feeling around there's a fine dicing here. They may drop an idea into your head. You go, oh, here's an idea. It's in that instant of like, oh, I have this idea that you're supposed to kind of judge how does it feel, to feel neutral or better, and then see where your feelings go. Oh, I don't want to do that. That part doesn't matter. You just know you got the idea from your angels, basically, because initially it felt good. It's subtle. It's very subtle. You have to be able to catch that quickly, or go back and try to retrieve it, because it's not going to be a 2x4, basically. So that's ideas, but it feels like you want to get to the physical part.
Well.
Was there another one in between? Okay. Sorry. Here's one more before we get to the physical part. Is this a guardian angel? Yes, it can be. So your guardian angel can also appear as if they're. I didn't know this, by the way. Can appear as if they're human at a critical time in your life.
Wow.
Right. It's like they manifest. They're able to manifest
for a short time.
For a very short time. Like if you tried to find them again, you'd never find them.
Wow.
Nobody would know who they were. That kind of thing. And they may be there to deliver a message. They're giving me the example. I do remember this more or less. I'm asking them to help me remember. One of my clients was in the Vietnam War, and the question came up, he felt at the time that in retrospect that an angel had appeared to him. So I looked at that and was like, yes. But what was happening was he was by himself doing some sort of patrol. This is the gun. And going down, I can just see tall, I don't know what they are, tall plants on either side of this path. And he looks back like he's supposed to be looking around. He looks back and then he looks forward again. And here's this man walking toward him who wasn't there before, and just gently walking toward him, and they get up to each other, and my client says hi, and the whatever this was, it was actually an angel, says hi. Don't go down that way. Don't go that way. That's dangerous. You need to turn around and go back.
Wow.
And he believed it. I mean, if you have an angel walking,
right.
But he was sensitive also. He wasn't locked down in his own view of the world. He was open to that. So he turned around and walked back. He looked back to see if this guy was following him or what, and he was gone.
Wow.
And then he found out as he returned to wherever that there was a big ambush right up ahead. So this angel saved his life.
Yeah.
By manifesting. They're showing me an angel manifesting in a bookstore. I don't know what that's about. For their person, so that their person, they don't have to manifest, but this is not a client of mine. Okay. But the image, the little scenario they're giving me is that an angel manifests in a bookstore while their client is there in the bookstore and has a little conversation with, just like a person would about, I read this really good book, that kind of thing, and leads the person to the appropriate information in book form. The person picks up the book, looks to say thank you, and poof, they're gone, kind of thing. And no one else is apparently in the bookstore one. No one was really aware that, except for this individual, that was another angel manifestation. So we're supposed to clarify that some people say, "Oh, you're an angel," or they look at a physical person and feel that they are an angel or an incarnation of angel. Apparently, that's not correct. Angels are all spirit, and they have not had a physical experience, right? Okay, we're getting to the physical part. Okay.
Let me ask the question real quick.
Yeah.
When they do that, like if we were to hug that angel that manifests for a minute,
I don't think you would feel them. It feels
you
like
wouldn't.
you wouldn't feel them, but they look totally. They're saying hologram. It's like a hologram.
Okay.
They're saying it's like what you see in movies.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, that's funny, but it's three-dimensional, and looks solid. Solid.
Right.
And they can speak. Well, yes, we know that from the example. So we can hear. Oh, they don't really speak.
Oh, it's just.
But we can. It's telepathic. We can hear them
because that's low it is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's
kind of like I can occasionally hear things, and the individual would be hearing their angel as if it were just another person. And almost always there's a sense of ooh for the individual after.
Yeah, for sure.
That is a significant event in their life. It kind of like makes them really pay attention to angels and spirituality and that sort of thing. It can be a turning point.
Absolutely, that's neat.
In terms of physical things, because generally they okay. So they're saying they don't interfere with the physics of the earth plane. I am learning that living in a physical body, physics of our earthly existence is actually a really big deal, but we can talk about that another time. Nevertheless, the angel is indicating that they generally don't or can't. Well, generally don't, for sure, intervene, you might say, in physics. It's almost like if there's any other way to do it without, kind of like breaking the laws of physics, they'll do that, you might say. It has to be something that, and they don't know, okay, it has to be something that's really critical. They show me, I do have a client who was almost in a car accident. She happens to be very connected to her spiritual team. She came and talked, said, I was almost in a car accident. And so I could see it and watched as she was going at a very high rate of speed and her car went out of control. So he's heading straight for a polar tree and still not for a witch. And he's freaking out, and,
right.
which is because the car is totally out of control.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing, you know,
Yeah. Right.
and I can see her heading toward this pole or tree at a very high rate of speed, and then I see it's almost like two big hands. Here's the car. I'm looking this direction. These two hands show up behind the car and kind of go.
Wow.
Just a fraction.
Yeah.
A fraction of it. And whew, he goes right past the tree, ends up doing a 360 and just coming to a stop in a safe place.
Wow.
Never was hit by any of the other traffic, never was pushed back. You know, she was fine.
Right.
She was fine. Apparently that can happen. I would like another example. because I would. Because I'm kind of there. Well, okay, so I'm not going to necessarily know this is true, but because I've had the experience with my client with the car accident, but this can happen. Okay, so when they don't go against physics, that one was kind of going against physics. That's
kind of making something, right? Kind of actually putting a force against something to move it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
going against the laws of what we would call nature. But they're indicating now that they're showing like they tripped somebody or pulled it. So this individual is outside. They're coming to a dangerous place and
pull the rug out.
It looks like, yeah. And so the person doesn't even know that they were. I mean, they might know, oh my gosh, I just missed being hurt.
Right.
But they don't realize that their angels would trick them.
Right.
It tricked them. Because it just looks like, boom. And then the individual looks up. We are not to believe, okay, when does this, we're not to believe that, it's kind of like they don't always do this. How is it that this happens sometimes and it does not happen other times? Okay, some of it may, well, ultimately, like the final answer is, okay, we're having a little conversation here, I'm sorry. Ultimately, if somebody dies, from an angel's perspective, that's not that big a deal. Their spirit is still, it's still in existence and just crosses over the other side, and they actually get to see their guardian angel on the spiritual level. So they're kind of reassuring us.
That's not necessarily the critical.
Right. And sometimes, well, the different, the hard part about that is loved ones left behind. And the level of grief that can cause. It does, okay, so so the other part is being very injured or getting very ill. Getting very ill. They say they don't really have influence over whether we get ill or not. That's interesting. They don't step in to intervene if our physical body is on the path to illness. However, they are there for us to support us through that, to help guide us, toward healing to the extent that's possible. In other words, they don't abandon us. It's just that they are not. It almost feels like they are not able to, or it would be really remarkable if they did intervene to prevent an illness. What about an accident?
Let me ask you real quick.
Yeah.
Is that because the illness is a teacher to their person at that point, or can it be all types of things?
It can be all types of things. Apparently, some illnesses are just physiological. They're just something that, you get a parasite and it does its thing. And so they don't keep you from getting the parasite. It's just how you manage that afterwards. So there are just illnesses that happen here that have nothing to do with with energy is what
It's
they were
part of the
saying.
experience.
It's part of the experience. It's also part of other species' life cycles,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of like that's what you sign up for when you come down here. We're not the only
Yes.
species that belongs here, I guess you'd say, and so we have to work with that environment. What about an accident? That's what I'm saying. Sometimes they show me a motorcycle, like
Mm-hmm.
going right out from under somebody, and sometimes they can. So sometimes that would be more a matter, except for the car accident we were just talking about. The the motorcycle crashes, so I'm not sure what they're telling me here. Um, Although they can bring to the, I see, they can bring to the driver's attention if their person is the one driving the motorcycle, riding it. They can bring to their attention, kind of like be careful, slow down,
or don't ride, whatever it is.
Yeah, right, that kind of thing. In order to, it would be that type of thing that would help prevent an accident. But again, sometimes there's going to be a car accident where the guardian angel's person is doing everything they should, and somebody else comes coming in from the outside and hits them. And there's, that just happens. And then, and they're calling it an accident. And that does become, and it's always what happens after that. What happens after you get an illness? What happens after there's an accident? In other words, how do you learn to manage that and rise above it? And it's definitely always, they're saying, always an opportunity for learning and for kind of like progressing spiritually, and even to the extent that some people will have, what do you call it when they're showing me when they almost die and then they come back?
Kind of an out of the body experience.
Right. So there's that whole range of, I've got an infected finger, and if we pay attention to that, that's interesting. If we pay attention to it, it's a way to practice being connected with our guardian angel and being connected on an energetic level. What they're showing me is you have an infected finger and you love your finger, which is part of the spiritual orientation, I guess you'd say. You love and appreciate your finger, and it actually can heal faster because that's an energy, a high vibrational energy that apparently is helping in some way. We should look at that more on some other time in terms of the healing stuff, because that wasn't really a guardian angel function. That was an individual's